Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to be talking about my 2024 TBR list. I'm keeping track of my 2024 TBR. So this reading journal that I found a template for on Canva, and I made some changes to it myself, which I thought made more sense to how I like to read and keep track of my reading. Whatever in here just really didn't make much sense and didn't leave much room for all the books that I wanted to read. This is the template. I just uploaded it to GoodNotes on my iPad. And so how I did this was I left some of the original things in here, changed some other things up. So let's just get right into some of the questions that are on this reading journal and then my TBR list for 2024. So for 2024, I want to read 50 or more books. My goal this year was pretty steep at 75 and I was nowhere near hitting it. I think I am right about 30 books for the year, and it's very low because I hit a reading slump for about 3 or 4 months and I didn't touch a book for 3 or 4 months. Like, it was rough. I didn't want to read anything. No book sounded good to me. I think I DNF'd 3 or 4 books and then I just gave up. So I'm hoping to reach my goal this next year. Upcoming book release that I'm excited about besides Crescent City 3 is Housemaid is Watching by Freida McFadden. Releases June 11th, 2024. I said besides Crescent City 3 because I haven't even finished 1 and 2 yet. A book that I keep hearing about is Divine Rivals. Divine Rivals. So I want to read that. And then a book that I'm finally going to get to this year that's been on my TBR list, which that's a question I added because I really need to make myself do it. And it's Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. I got this book like going on 2 years ago, coming up in 2 years, and I just can't bring myself to read it for some reason. So I need to get to that this year. Go into my actual TBR list. So everything that I have listed here is on my physical bookshelf. These reasons we're gonna start out strong with the Crescent City series. I need to finish the Crescent City duology before the third one comes out. But that comes out in like 30 days, like almost exactly a month, because today's December 28th. And I don't think I'm gonna finish it by then. And that also leads us into number 2, which is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. And then Dance and Vow of Thieves duology by Mary E. Pearson. I guess this is like a romantasy as well, which has been one of my favorite, actually probably my favorite genre for 2023. I'm interested to see if that'll stay the same throughout 2024. I have Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I really like Riley Sager's writing. He's a good thriller author. Next, I have the Addicted to You series, which I think it's just the Addicted series, right? By Krista Becker Ritchie. Then I have Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. And then obviously the last book. I've only read Things We Never Got Over and then started Things We Left Behind. And then one of my best friends was like, yeah, it's in Nash's perspective. And I was kind of like, and then I put it down. But I need to finish it up this year. Next, I have Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I've only read Happy Place by her, which was a 5-star read for me this year in my 5-star video on my TikTok and on my Bookstagram. People have said like her writing from these 2 books to Happy Place is like significantly better, and that kind of makes me nervous to go backwards, but I have them on my shelf and I really want to read them. Read is also Sarah Caroli's favorite book, so I have hopes. I have The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I don't really have much to say about that because I don't know too much about it. I have The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I bought this one to read in October and then never got to it, but I heard really good things about it. I've only read one Grady Hendrix book, I believe, and I did not like it at all. I thought it was dumb. It was How to Sell a Haunted House, I think. Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. A bookseller at Barnes & Noble convinced me to get this one because he said it was really good. I have The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I think this is the one about a lady who reads a book and then gives a bad review on it that starts getting stalked by the author of the book because of the bad review. I'm very interested to read that one. The Intern, which was a book of the month. I just recently watched a video that said the beginning of this book is a little slow, but that it goes into like a really good plot. Another book of the month pick is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I haven't read too much up on this book, so I'm not absolutely positive on this. I did read the description before I picked it though, I promise, but I just can't seem to remember. The Reese Witherspoon Book Club, gorgeous modern gothic fantasy. And then another book of the month pick is The Last Thing He Told Me. I'm pretty sure this is the one that people say is really, really sad. Next is Four Aunties and a Wedding by Jessie Sutanto. And I loved Dial A for Aunties. I thought it was hilarious. I literally laughed out loud while I was reading it. I read this book because of Haley Pham. She went on and on about it. And I picked it up and I really, really enjoyed it. Next on my TBR list for 2024, I want to reread Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. Next is the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins. I want to reread that. So I read this book, or the series, when it first came out. Gosh, I was 8 or 9. It's time for me to reread. Obviously, I'm considering The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes into that as well, which I already saw the movie and so good. I have Redeeming Love, which is a biblical love story retelling. Mom read this years ago and she's begged me to read it ever since, and I've just heard nothing but fantastic things about that book. I have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This is actually a book I got for Christmas from my little brother, as well as The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, and I love their writing. Love in Other Words, which is on my top 5 favorite books ever. I'm definitely a little behind on the Unhoneymooners train. I know a couple, or at least the last year, I believe, or 2, is when it was really big and everyone was reading it. So I'm a little behind, but I'm gonna catch up. Next is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I believe I got this one in a book exchange, so I'm not too incredibly familiar. I have Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. I bought this one last February to read in February and never did. So hopefully by the time February rolls around, I will be reading this book. Island by Natasha Preston. I thought this one seemed so interesting when I picked it up at Barnes & Noble. I almost got it the first time that I saw it, and I was like, oh, I don't need it. And then I went back the next day and I bought it. Social media influencers are invited to Jagged Island, an amusement park for the rich and famous. Trouble abounds and murders arise as they start getting bumped off one by one, is like the summary of this. And next up, I have A Winter in New York by Josie Silver, which was a book of the month pick. I am kind of nervous to read this one because I don't want it to put me into a reading slump. Only reviews that I've heard about this book are terrible reviews. They've all been 1 star. So I'm a little afraid to start it and waste my time. And next I have Tell Me Lies by Carola Lovering. I've had this one for a while too and I just need to read it. I have Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I DNF'd this book this year and I've heard very great things about this book. So I was not expecting to DNF it, but my goal is to finish it in 2024. As well as Bunny by Mona Awa, because that's next on my list. I DNF'd that one as well. But in my defense, I had a long span of a reading slump this year, so I DNF'd a lot of books, I feel like. Next I have Summer of 69 and 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand. I read The Hotel Nantucket this summer, and it's actually on my 5-star, or my 2023 5-star reads. Next I have the Inheritance Game series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the Fine Print series, which the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. I have The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks, and I don't know how to say her last name, Sarah Pekkanen. Next is None Shall Sleep, Everything by Nicola Yoon, which I got this in a book exchange. And I saw this movie years ago with my mom. Short little book. Maybe it'd be like a palate cleanser if I need one this year. Robert Dugoni, I have My Sister's Grave. And then the book I am trying so hard not to start after I finish Iron Flame is Lightlark by Alex Astor. It just sounds so interesting. I didn't find it anywhere, and then one day I looked on barnesandnoble.com and they had a couple left, so I reserved it and then went and picked it up at my store just because it was the first time I was able to find it in forever. So I bought it, and then now she has Night Bane out, which I saw one copy left at Target the other day and I didn't grab it. And I'm so upset that I didn't grab it. I'm trying so hard not to start Lightlark after Iron Flame, and I want to so bad because I need to get to Crescent City. Including Night Bane, that's not on my physical TBR list. That is 38 books that I have on my TBR for 2024. That is over half of my reading goal for the year. Fingers crossed that I can knock out all of the physical books that I have on my bookshelves right now. I have a problem because reading and buying books are two different hobbies. Thank you guys so much for watching my 2024 TBR list. Comments below, leave your most anticipated read for 2024. I need to know what to buy. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!